All right, so this is Leimomi and Perpetual, and we are going to share about Perpetual's story of giving her message and like what you want to share with the world also. But I want to also get to know, what you experienced from taking my soul line manifestation method program and challenge, and what was that like for you? So let's start with like who you are, what you do, and like why you do what you do.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Perpetua Neo. I'm a psychologist and a coach, and I help people, high achieving women, to liberate themselves from panic attacks, trauma from abusive relationships, and from their busy minds or anxiety, whether or not they give a name to it. But really, what I do is I help people to love themselves and respect themselves, even if they think that it's impossible or ridiculous.
Yeah, I so love your description of what you do. I love hearing it over and over again.
Yeah.
So can you share with us, like before, you took my program, like what were you experiencing, like the struggles or the lack of clarity or whatever it was that really wasn't feeling good? And like what made you decide to kind of like do the program at that very point in your life?
Okay, so basically, I was at a point in my life where I had quite recently left an abusive relationship. I was working really hard towards, building up my spiritual parts of my life and getting back in touch with them and getting, comfortable with them and enough for them to share with the world. Because, as a psychologist, sometimes it can be quite difficult to share your life and share your truth, but at the same time I know that's how we connect as human beings. So so even though I've done a lot of work in healing for like a whole year, and I've done a lot of different kinds of spiritual work, I wanted to really understand who I was, what my soul was made up of, because I absolutely believe in that. And before then, I was reading about people's different messages, and much as they made sense, I didn't really know what resonated best for me and my audience. So like for instance, like I've always in my work, like I know like you don't really just talk about self-love, even though that's what I really teach people about. We know that self-love is so important. Compassion for yourself is really about courage and helping other people in your life. You just spread that whole warmth. But I didn't really know how to express that, so I was just saying things like, oh, helping you to beat yourself up less, thinking that that is how I'm going to get to my clients. That really I was just hiding behind some words, and the light version of what I do, or the super light version. And how like diet versions aren't really good for you. So that's how I find the analogy. So as I worked with Leimomi, she gave me my soul blueprint, and at first some things make sense, some things didn't make sense, but over the 14 days, she'll explain the different things, like what's my lesson, what is like what are my gifts, where do I operate best from, and things like that help me to get like, oh, so actually this is what I need to be comfortable with. I need to have a lot of self-love, and I need to talk about it much more openly and to own it. Because before then I was thinking like, oh, like power, truth, creativity, that are really important things, and I thought that's stuff that I need to write about in my my copy or in any of my posts. But then I realized that actually these things came much easier to me than self-love. We teach the things that is our biggest lessons. So as I worked with her in this 14 days and beyond, what I realized was that, oh my gosh, self-love had so many more lessons to teach me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was just so many amazing things that you manifested in that like 14 days. I know
Yeah.
like share a bit like some of the stuff that you remember. Like I remember like you got like your premium clients to
Yeah.
losing some weight and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Like what was the kind of things that you remember like that actually caused a whole new direction in your life and your business? Like you got on Glamour magazine, and like
Yeah.
what actually like happened within you that like got you so expansive? What do you think that was too?
I think it was just really owning myself and getting really comfortable with it. So in terms of what I manifested, so I started signing on premium clients, started being really comfortable with saying that, hey, this is the price point that I do, even if people tell me that it's too expensive. But speaking to you, I realized that seeing you and another coach, actually, I realized that I needed to double my prices and, just own it, because actually I help people to get rid of their panic attacks really quickly. So, instead of spending 5 years, they spend 6 weeks or 12 weeks with me. And so actually I'm worth it. So, I was able to talk about it with my clients and really own it and sign them on and help them. So I made really big shifts with them, and I made big shifts within myself, like, losing the weight. So I started with a weight loss journey sometime before I started working with you. But then, like, as I started working with you even more, I realized that the weight just shed even more and more. And, like, it was just a weight. It was like, like this excess fat that I didn't like at all, because this reminded me of how I was eating to escape rather than for pleasure. And so, it started just melting away, and it's still melting away, amazingly enough, even though I eat a lot. And I barely exercise these days. So, like, for me, like, whenever I see my body and I like what I see, that again is another confirmation or affirmation of self-love, because I know I'm treating myself right. And so then I started having more media appearances. I got into write for Ariana Huffington's Thrive Global. I got an offer to be featured as an expert on Glamour UK. I was just thinking, I need to be in a print magazine, and I need something in the UK because that's where I live, and I have like nothing in the UK, which is really ridiculous because I have everything. I've got stuff in like China or America or Australia, so it's just funny, and then there we go. I started having like an interview, and that was done. Gosh, I can't remember what else, but that was quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really amazing. Like how fast. It was like only like within like 2 or 3 days, like you started to get this realization, and then just like momentum happened. Like only just during the time that we had the 14 days, but like beyond that, I'm seeing you like totally owning yourself, and you're like your presence is so like real and authentic, and you're really exuding that divine love, which is your blueprint, which is like phenomenal to watch, and just watch how like you just like led into you got into your soul line leadership, and you just like keep going with it. And I don't see you stopping either. Like, you're getting all these speaking engagements, and like feeling really free, like that liberated, like feeling to just be yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So since then, what are the things, like your bigger goals? Like, what do you see yourself doing the next like 3 to 5 years that's going to like take from what you learned, right? Like how what you've learned is going to like shift you into actually what you desire.
So the next 3 to 5 years, I see myself really owning my message across many different mediums. So right now I do a lot of writing, and I do some podcasts, and then and I do some speaking, but I really would like to move it to a much bigger platform where I can reach many more people, do a lot more group programs. So whether it's in person or online, both would be really useful, because then I can have these connections with all these people I want to work with. What else would I like to do? I like to be able to do retreats. I would like to write a book. So, many different things. But because because in my soul blueprint, you told me I was Hungarian, and I realized that, that's actually how I managed to bend time and achieve so much in so little time. So that really taught me that, wow, again, like, hey, Hungarian power, owning myself. So, I know that there's a lot of things that I'm going to be able to achieve in the next 3 to 5 years, and to really, spread my message. And also because, I was in an abusive relationship, and that was very difficult. Even the whole idea of acknowledging being abused or being with a narcissist / psychopath was very scary for me. And, as I worked with you on your program, I started to realize that I needed to own my story. So, like, besides writing about it, I needed to, on Mind Body Green, I also needed to actually write about it on my Facebook page, on my own Facebook personal site as well, because I started meeting all these different women, and they were telling me things like, this was my story as well, and I'm still feeling really traumatized by it many, many years later, or I'm in different abusive relationships. I'm still in one. And then, like, the girl who moved in next door, she told me that, one evening I met her, and she said something like, I had to move really quickly. And I was like, oh, what happened? And she said, relationship problems. And I said, well, tell me about sister. For me too, I had to run away from a man who got violent. And she told me, yeah, he got really, really violent with me. And, what are the odds that everywhere I ran, these things were happening? So This has working with you has taught me that I need to be courageous enough to spread my message. So that's removed a lot of the shame. So by next year, I would like to open a charity, set up a charity where, people have this information, where they feel less alone, and where the shame is going to be gone.
Wow, I love it. You're going so many places. So lastly, like, let's share with everybody like how they can reach out to you, and maybe even get some help from you. Is there any place where you have like a free gift or things that you want to share with people, or how they could actually start working with you?
Sure. So basically, when you want to work with me, all you have to do is fill out this form. It's a really short, like 1 minute form, and then you get to book a session with me, a clarity session that is 45 minutes, and it's absolutely complimentary. During which we'll get a sense of what's going on for you, what's going right, and where do you want to be. So and then if I see that I can help you, then I will tell you about how we can work together in a way that best helps you. So I can send Leimomi the form link, and I have a website, I have a Facebook page, and basically on my website I have a few different free gifts. So one of them is an exercise that you can do every day in order to change your mindset, because it's not as easy as thought surgery, right? Just open your head, incise a horrible thought, and come in with a new belief. So it's something that needs to be practiced and needs to be felt in every single cell of your body, not just being rational, because if that happened, I'll be super productive and I'll be like the happiest person in the world. But we know that it doesn't happen. So this exercise I find really useful. Other things that you can find on my website as free gifts will be, meditation exercises that take only 3 minutes or 3 breaths, that can really help to anchor and ground you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So your website is
perpetuaneo.com, and basically I'll send Leimomi the link as well on these resources that you can download.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for like sharing your story, sharing from like what you were before to like what you're doing now. And because I just see like you're just gonna really explode and like get really out there and really make a bigger impact. And so I'm glad that like that soul alignment was like kind of the catalyst that like pushed you into finding that confidence to do what you do, because that is like all you need. You just need to really, really be that connected in that aligned space. And I believe like you have been that embodiment in just like I think the past month. Like it's incredible. It's actually about like a month or two, right, since we in the program. So it's just phenomenal to see you just grow and expand.
Thank you. I think like the other thing I will also add would be, as I remember, right, how you always talk about leveling up and investing in ourselves. So, before that, because like this year has honestly been very expensive for me, not in terms of just my business, but, in terms of like the practical logistics of having to run away from an abuser, my immigration and everything else. So it's been pretty crazy. But, speaking to you, you talked about how it's so important to invest in ourselves. And, as much as I've always understood that and believed in that, that really unlocked something in me, like the resistance towards, doing extra investments. So, there I went, I hired a photographer, hired a new website designer, I started like hiring other coaches as well to get me to where I want to be. So even though there was a part of me that resisted, it's again, opened new doors towards like new levels of how I see myself, my business, and how I interact with the world. So today, like when I speak to people about myself or my business, no matter how, big or successful these people are, I don't have any more like resistance or any more fear. I don't feel small or anything. Even though my business is nowhere where I want it to be yet, I feel like, yeah, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I do. And, let's help each other. There's no more like, heartbeat that's going crazy or thinking, oh my God, why would they want to talk to me? So that's a really big shift. And, I think that, I know that the 14-day challenge was something that unlocked it within me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we'll be talking very soon.
Absolutely. Bye. Thank you, Leimomi.